Hey everybody, Tim here with my co-host husband Jordan for the third review of Golden Girls. I think it's the third review. I lost count already because I can't count to three. So kind of like the last two videos, we're just going to kind of start and see how our time's going, and then we'll just stop at some point. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just go forever. Like Betty White.
All right.
So the first episode was episode 6. I think it was called On Golden Girls, which is a terrible title. Like, I love titles. And to me, titles are kind of a lost art. So, like, I do a lot of Star Trek reviews, as most of you know. And, like, through the 90s and into 2000, like, the title would always show up. If you watch shows nowadays, you don't see the titles. Unless you go to, like, IMDb. You never see titles anymore. Kind of like the opening scene, the opening sequence. Like Golden Girls, for example. It's a really catchy theme song, and it's really long. Now, it's just, here's the title of the show, moving on. So, that's my soapbox. So this episode was about Blanche's 14-year-old grandson. Anything? What did you think of this one?
Basically, just her grandson comes to visit, and then she ends up finding out that
he's an ass.
He's an ass, whatever. But because his parents are fighting and they're going through a divorce, and so he's acting out because he's like just basically getting ignored during all this that's going on.
Mm-hmm. So you and I came from very, very different backgrounds. Like you have an older brother, yes, and I'm an only child. And so I liked this. So this episode came out in the late 80s, where things are very different now. Like I'm too scared to have a kid these days. So I thought this episode was interesting, where it kind of dealt with punishment and how you interact with children. Because he's supposed to be 14, and he's acting out. Like, you can clearly tell that this episode came out way before September 11th, because he stows away to go to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Like, that's never gonna happen. But like I forgot what he said, but he's mouthing off, and Sophia just fucking slaps him. Like, that's something that would happen to me growing up.
I was like, yeah, I mean, shoot, you breathed the wrong way, and my mom let me know.
Yeah.
Or no.
But still to this day, Tracy's like, what are you doing?
But I mean, I kind of like how they handle it, because I mean, there is the scene where, you can be, the back of the hand, or they also go with the, we're going to give them chores, we're going to build structure. Mm-hmm. And so,
I feel like is a lost art with kids these days. Like, because everybody's too scared to do anything. Yeah. And Sophia's just like, no, he was being a smartass and he needed it. And then Blanche had that reaction where she's like, how dare you lay a hand on my child? And Sophia's like, how dare he speak to me that way?
Well, that's very true.
So, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm old, but I'm on Sophia's side for this one.
No, I was definitely on Sophia's side as well. I mean, I wouldn't have hit another person's child. That would be a little bit crossing the line, I would say. But also at the same time, I mean, if I was at Sophia's age and I've lived, 80 plus years, I'm not going to let some 14-year-old kid tell me how to live my life. And what if smacking him into reality is going to work? Well, then, hey.
I wish I'd written down what he said to her. Because I know it was directed at her.
Yeah, it's probably some moderate age. Or, I don't know. Something we can review later.
Yep. And I believe this is the first episode Sophia calls Dorothy Pussycat, which we'll see throughout the rest of the series.
Yep. That's an ongoing nickname. So.
Yep. But so we're 6 episodes in, and we're finally starting to get those little knacks where we see them reoccurring throughout the rest of the series. I believe this is the first grandchild we've seen. Do all 3 of them have grandkids?
I think all of them have grandkids, yes. But honestly, I know they all have grandkids. Some of them have like 3 and 4, but I only remember a select few on the show. But that could just be because I didn't really pay attention that much.
Because we saw Dorothy's daughter just get married to Dennis the doctor.
Right.
We haven't seen Michael yet, and I don't think we've seen any of Rose's kids yet.
No, we haven't seen any of her kids yet, and then we haven't seen any of Dorothy's siblings.
Right. Okay. Any last one for this episode?
No, this episode, I'm gonna be like Tim. It didn't really do it for me. So, other than the fact that, you know, Sophia smacks a kid, and, you know, who doesn't love, you know, seeing a kid get smacked to follow directions.
It's like Moo Moo did it.
Right.
I have a cat that hates children, so anytime kids come over, we're like, nope, let's put the cat away. Okay, so for this episode, we have competition. This was a fun one. I like this one. This is the one that finally starts to paint Rose in a little bit darker.
Yeah, this is where
like she gets manipulative.
Yeah, this is where, like, she may be stupid, but she's still smart.
Yeah. Evil genius. She's like a Sith Lord.
Kind of. Well, I mean, we say that now in the review, but then in the end of the episode, she does end up losing. So.
Oh, she won. She's the one that got the trophy, remember?
Oh, it's because Dorothy threw the episodes.
Yeah, because Dorothy threw it. So the episode...
We just, like, totally skipped to the end.
That's what I do. So for this one, it's all about bowling, and Rose wants to win a bowling champion. And the whole episode is basically like one of those card games where people just keep switching.
Right.
Because originally it's these twins, and Blanche and Rose are playing, and Dorothy has to find somebody. And then Dorothy's with one of the twins, and Rose leaves Blanche. And then Rose then goes to Dorothy, and then it just gets all sorts of hodgepodge.
It basically boils down to Rose is trying to win. So
and she's willing to throw anybody under the bus to do it.
Yeah,
And then, but there's a whole subplot. Like, this episode's really good with writing, because then there's a whole subplot about Sophia's first love comes to town. And then it becomes this giant bet where if Dorothy and Blanche win, then Dorothy gets earrings. But if Rose and Sophia wins, Sophia gets the money to go to Sicily.
Right.
And then, spoiler alert, Dorothy throws the match. So, and then Rose wins the trophy that she wanted the whole time and makes her name 4 times bigger.
Yes, because it's going to be in her room.
Hey, if you want to see it, it'll be in my room. Because, yeah, this is the first time we see Rose really be manipulative. And
yeah, she even kind of, like...
a little darker.
Like, I love it even, like, when they get to the bowling alley, they're all wearing the same shirt.
Oh, yeah, and she says, Ma.
Yeah, and, Blanche is like, you're wearing my shirt, and she's like, oh, sorry, it might look different on a bigger bosom girl.
Rose was scandalous of that.
I know, yeah, she was going all out.
That's all I got for this one. Like, this episode was great, just for Rose's lines. And then, like, she says "Ma" right when Dorothy, like, rears back, and she, like, throws the ball behind her.
Yes.
And she's like, and I love you. So I don't really know much about bowling, because I suck at bowling. And then you're like, well, I mean, technically it doesn't count, because it didn't go down the lane.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's one of those things, because there's a sensor, and so as far as I know...
Were there sensors 40 years ago?
Okay, well, the ball has to trip. They know when it goes down the lane.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, like... And so as far as I know, there's a line that you have to cross. As long as you don't cross that line, it technically doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a long time since I played bowling, so maybe that's something that, as a kid, that's what they let us do.
With the bumpers?
I never played with bumpers. My mom never let me. But, I don't know. I love this episode, and just bowling is...
This is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then we'll do one last episode for this review because we're starting to get in the time. Episode 8, The Break-In. This was an intense one. Like, this one was really dark as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever had someone break into your house, I have, you kind of get that uneasy feeling about, you know, oh goodness, you know, did I lock the windows? Did I lock the doors?
Yeah, I've had people break into my car twice. But no, I've never had a house breakdown.
Okay, so imagine your car, but like everything you own in your house.
That'd be sad.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of shit. There's like exhibit behind me of all of my art.
Oh, that's not even a man cave, so.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if anybody, like somebody would break in and be like, is there anything you have to know? He just likes cats and then leaves. So, I joke about that. Like tomorrow, I won't be able to do reviews because they'll steal my computer and everything. Yeah. But... so for this episode, okay, so for you who have had a break-in, did you identify with Rose then? Like, were you scared and went out and bought a gun and stuff like that? Or were you more of a Dorothy and like, well, that sucks, let's buy a lock system and let's get an alarm system?
I was kind of on Dorothy's side, to be honest. When it happened, I was a little bit, I wasn't like young, but I was a little bit on the younger side. I was about like 7 or 8. So I mean, for some that could be like, that's super young. But I do remember when it happened, and my mom, I mean, we lived in Northeast Portland in the not so good part of town. And it was very, you know, okay, well, we're going to get an alarm system. We're going to make sure we have deadbolts on the door. We're going to make sure, you know, our windows have locks on them. And, you know, it's just, we took extra precautions. And I never really got the, like, that I was ever unsafe. Okay. I never got that. It was, I don't know, maybe just because my mom was really good at protecting it, or like, you know, me and my brother, but yeah, like I said, we just did extra precautions, and it was like, and that's where I feel like, because Dorothy said she's from New York, so she's like, yeah, shit, someone broke in, whoop-de-doo, like, this happened last Thursday. Like, so I mean, yeah, like I said, I definitely kind of identified with her more.
Yeah. You weren't more of the, like, we need a gun, and you're gonna, like, shoot the vase.
I'm not gonna shoot the vase. No, I was just gonna say, I was like, that's, I mean, we had protection in our house, but it was one of those, like, we never had to use it.
So overall, like this one, I don't remember a whole lot of funny in this one, though. This was more of a serious one.
Yeah, this one was more serious. They go out, they come back, their house is broken into, and then Rose gets the gun, and then...
I remember, like, the ending is funny, because throughout the whole episode, Blanche is like, he stole my jewels! And then they were in the freezer.
Yeah, they were not in the flour.
Yeah, they weren't in the flour. Did he steal your Coke?
Yeah. Well, I hid my jewels in the flour.
That's the most common place. Well, I normally keep them in the freezer. That's the second most common place. And then they were in the freezer. So...
Oh, but then again, as a break-in, you start thinking about stuff. You're like, oh my goodness, where did I leave this? Was this over there? Like what happened? And then you start thinking that's. But I feel like expensive heirloom, like family heirlooms, I feel like you would remember where those are at.
You'd be surprised. I lose a lot of shit.
You wouldn't lose your family heirlooms.
That's true. But then I also sometimes just think you throw it away and hope I don't realize it.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so we are pretty much. Okay, so we're now 8 episodes into the series. Enjoying it? I know you're enjoying it. I just want to ask anyway.
Yes, of course. I love the Golden Girls. As I think I've already said multiple times, Betty White's my favorite character, so...
Yeah. Especially as she gets more scandalous throughout the series.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting a couple more episodes into it. They've been rehearsing them more together, so they're trying to get more comfortable with each other. So I feel like that also comes out as well as the story goes on, as they just get more comfortable.
I mean, 8 episodes, so they've probably been together for about 2 months, 3 months at this point. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're working next to someone, you know,
every
probably
day.
like at least probably like 12, maybe 16 plus hours. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know how long they filmed back then, but yeah, like I said, so I think that's also why we're starting to enjoy it a little bit more. We're starting to see more of their personalities come out. We're, like you said, we're starting to see those little knacks here and there, like Pussycat, and for what Sophia calls Dorothy. I think this is when we start getting a little bit more into hearing about Rose and St. Olaf, or wherever the frick she's from. Yep, St. Olaf. Okay, good. I thought I was screwing up on that. And then obviously you just start hearing about all of Blanche's rendezvous that she has.
Pretty soon we'll see Big Daddy at some point.
Oh yes, Big Daddy.
Because I don't think she's at least said where she's from yet, has she? She's from Tennessee?
I think she's from
Georgia.
Yeah, I think she's from Georgia.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, and I think I even did that in my trivia videos too.
I think, yeah.
But all right, well, thank you guys for watching. I am trying to make him watch episodes more with me, but it is very difficult to get him to do these reviews sometimes.
I work a lot and I'm busy. Sorry.
You just don't like doing it.
And that's a lot.
But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for being a friend, and we will see you guys next time.